session. Sorry. Okay. Our next speaker is the member of the European Parliament, López White, and she's the member of the Foreign Affairs Committee via video address.
Good afternoon from the European Parliament in Strasbourg. I would like to thank the Interparliamentary Coalition for Global Ethics and specifically Mrs. Susanna Beckerman for the kind invitation to send a video message to the participants in this event. I have been almost 2 years that I have been participating in these activities organized by this organization because I am fully convinced that we need to do more to support a culture of peace in the Middle East, which is a fundamental step to contain those who will keep doing all they can to promote violence and hatred in the region. As you know, last Sunday, the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas entered into force, and the first Israeli hostages were allowed to return to their families. This is a great achievement because our biggest wish and priority was always the liberation of the hostages held captive by the terrorists in Gaza and the alleviation, of course, of the challenging situation faced by the civil population in Gaza. While this ceasefire is very welcome and has the potential to become the stepping stone for a durable peace in the region, we know that this will not be achieved as long as the Iranian regime is allowed to operate freely, financing their terrorist proxy groups in Gaza, in Iran, in Iraq, in Syria, and in Yemen. Those who still believe that we should negotiate some sort of new JCPOA with Iran should wake up. The Iranian regime has absolutely no interest in becoming less belligerent. It is a brutal dictatorship that sends weapons to Russia, that will be used against the Ukrainian civil population, that finances terrorist proxies all over the Middle East, that plans and executes assassination operations against its critics all over the world, that persecutes women and religious minorities, that supports the dictatorships in Venezuela, Nicaragua, and is increasing its economic presence in these and other countries. Whereas Hamas and Hezbollah are much more weakened today than they were 15 months ago, and whereas the end of the Assad regime is also a positive step towards achieving peace in the region, Iran will not stop. In this context, it is fundamental that we return to the spirit of the Abraham Accords, interrupted by the despicable 7th of October attacks. It is only by strengthening the ties and the trust among the Arab nations and Israel that we will be able to neutralize the Iranian threat and build the basis for an enduring peace in the region. To achieve this, we need to foster a culture of peace in the Middle East. Children in Gaza and in the West Bank should not be taught to hate their Israeli neighbors. UN humanitarian workers in Gaza should not conceive to cooperate in the execution of terrorist attacks. We need realistic, monitored efforts to assure the de-radicalization and mandatory education for the culture of peace in the region. Our funding needs to be tied to those conditions, and we need to find better ways to guarantee compliance. Moreover, as we are talking about the economics of peace, diplomatic efforts should be made to increase economic and social exchange amongst Israel and Arab nations. Increasing interdependence. European history tells us that previous enemies can overcome their conflictive past and build a future of peace and cooperation by increasing their economic interdependence. We should help our Israeli and Palestinian friends to achieve that. However, it is also essential that the prosperity that comes from these strengthened ties be channeled to support the development of the Palestinian people. As long as Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank cannot see a future of prosperity for the next generations, they will remain susceptible to Hamas and other unacceptable.
Okay, you'll have